Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another guide video on the Long Dark. I'm Lonelywolf and I hope to be able to give you guys some tips and pointers for adjusting your playstyle for optimal success when playing at Voyager difficulty. Let's get started with a brief review of playstyle tuning, and if you've not seen the general video on that, then check out the card in the upper right to go ahead and see it now. It'll give a lot of help and pointers and ideas so that all of this will make more sense because this builds off of that video. So if you haven't seen it, go and see it now. Otherwise, go ahead and keep watching. So the idea and goal behind playstyle tuning is to adjust how you play the game and the decisions you make to optimize them for a specific goal or difficulty. The idea generally is to identify areas where you have shortcomings or things you struggle with, especially as they relate to surviving, and then change how you approach those situations to achieve the outcome you desire, or at the very least not succumb to your failures. So what's different about Voyager difficulty, and what should you change to achieve optimal success? Well, just like all of the difficulties, you currently start out with limited gear, typically outside, and you have to start your journey finding clothing to get warm, food and water to sustain your needs, all your survival stats. So Voyager is tuned to focus on the exploration and weather aspects of the game, changing some of those variables to make it a little bit harder, while also introducing you to hostile wildlife. Voyager is still a relatively easy mode compared to Stalker or Interloper, but that doesn't mean it isn't without its own flavor of difficulties. In Voyager, you'll have a small grace period at the start of your run, where you won't have any hostile wildlife to be concerned about. During this period, it's advisable to abuse, to a slight degree, your condition and temperature needs to secure some loot fast. Because of how Voyager is tuned, your carry capacity drains quicker than the other modes as you fatigue, so it's not advised to sprint about. Rather, if you do have map knowledge, go ahead and use that to complement the lack of hostile wildlife and head to the nearest shelter and loot it. You'll want to do this across whatever region you spawn in to quickly stock up on better gear, tools, and food for the coming journeys ahead. You'll have 12 to 24 hours without wolves, so I'd recommend using the first 6 to 8 to hit major loot areas if you know where they are, and then resting for a few hours to regain some fatigue before hitting lesser areas. You should be able to clear, for example, the majority of Mystery Lake in this time frame before hostile wildlife is a concern. If you're lucky, you'll have a bow or a rifle at this point too, scavenged from somewhere, to assist you in handling wildlife from here on out. Since the Steadfast Ranger update, it's also possible to get a revolver, and that will also help with defense, and I'll have another video coming out on the revolver in the future here soon too. So anyway, after your first day, you'll now have hostile wildlife to contend with. Wolves in Voyager don't have super large detection radii, nor are they as aggressive. You should be able to dodge them relatively easily, and if not, you should be able to scare them with a flare or a torch if it comes to it. Of course, if all that fails, you could light a fire or just dispatch them quickly if you have a weapon. Either way, your next goals, as in any difficulty, should be clearing each region and procuring all the loot possible, likely storing it in a central location, if possible. Keep in mind that in Voyager, your carry capacity drains the quickest out of all the modes with fatigue, so you'll want to keep an eye on that and rest up. You don't have to worry about intestinal parasites either, so carnivore meat is a valid early game food source, making wolf purging a very valuable strat if you're into that sort of thing. After this, Voyager's main challenge comes from long distance travel and challenging but largely predictable weather patterns. Balancing your playstyle from here forward will depend on your goals, whether you're after a min-max long-term survival run, or just getting into tangling with hostile wildlife in preparation for a jump to Stalker difficulty later on. Voyager is an excellent mode to learn the maps and central high-quality loot locations. It's possible the next update to the game is going to change this. We just had Steadfast Ranger come out, but we don't really know much about the next update. It's probably just going to be story mode only, but we do know they're looking at tuning the loot variables and the spawn rates and everything. But as it is, not much is known about the update yet. Anyway, that aside, you can begin to explore the maps with a sense of danger and start learning how to deal with hostile wildlife and gain some experience in the different methods available for escaping, duping, and fighting if you plan to move up to a higher difficulty later on. If you're looking to up your game in Voyager as a stepping stone to higher difficulties, you can also begin exploring with limited supplies, as this mode will allow you to make mistakes and still recover relatively easy from them. Making cross-regional journeys, handling outdoor sleeping, navigating unknown areas in poor weather, etc. All of these things are skills you'll need to refine to survive in Stalker and especially in Interloper if you plan to go that high on the list. In Voyager, these skills still come in handy, though I would argue they are inherent to making a long-term survival run possible. It is hard to learn these skills in Pilgrim mode due to the lack of hostile wildlife and the fact that the mode is tuned to be so favorable to the player that adverse conditions are much rarer and less impactful. In Voyager, the weather can actually begin to be a bother and have negative impact to a far greater degree. Anyway, I hope this video has helped give you guys some insight into Voyager as a difficulty mode and some of the variables you'll have to take into account to tune your playstyle for optimal success. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyway, as always, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay warm out there.